Joe Summers. I'm so used to calling him Pastor Joe because he's a man of God. He is very humble. He is very hardworking, I would say, and it's more like a father figure and a grandfather figure to a whole lot of us here in China, in Jinan City to be precise, and yeah, a lot of places in China. So once more, sir, can you please introduce yourself?
Uh, Again, name is Joe Summers. I'm from South Carolina in America. Uh, I have been in China for more than 14 years.
Wow.
I've enjoyed my stay here and intend to continue living here. I'm not going anywhere except to
Oh,
visit and then return home. Okay.
China is really
Um,
amazing.
but I enjoy working with young people. Um, I I just enjoy life. Life is good, as I say. Life is good.
Oh, that is good. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I like the fact you said you're not going anywhere. Actually, I believe China is amazing. It is very safe, and I love China, the culture, the diversity, and getting to meet a whole lot of people every single day. It's amazing. So you've been in China for 14 years. I think it's gonna have a whole lot to do with our today's topic, which like it channels to decision making, right? And yes, you guys, Pastor Joe is also an author of amazing books, kids books, and also books in general. He is a very good writer. He's a mentor. He is down to earth, and I am so privileged again to have him on my podcast session. Today he will be discussing with us, and also I hope I can contribute because today I just want to listen to him. He is packed with wisdom, so I just want to keep my mouth shut and just listen. So, decision making. I will start with how did you and why did you decide to come to China? But how has the decision been so far? I mean, that is 1990. No, sorry. 2002, no, 1999, right? Oh no, sorry, 14 years. Oh, sorry. That's like 2009. Oh,
2009.
that's
Yes.
a whole long time. I mean, the changes. Okay, let's just start with why did you decide to come to China, Pastor Joe?
Well, before I answer that question, let me go back to something you just said.
Okay.
Okay. We learn by asking questions.
Okay.
All right. So, and we cannot ask questions if we keep our mouth shut.
Right.
So, okay. So please feel free to ask. I may
Okay.
not know the answer, but ask the question.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Now, okay. So, I came to China because I enjoy traveling. I thought I would take 6 months or a year and teach. Um, didn't know anything about China at all. In fact, I had originally planned to go to South Korea
Mm.
to teach, and I was talking to a recruiter, and I thought I was talking to a recruiter from South Korea, and I was actually talking to a recruiter from China,
Oh my
and
goodness.
they then shared with me why they thought that China would be a for me
A better
maybe a better
choice.
choice than South Korea.
Mm.
And I said, well, okay, we'll see. I'll try it.
Okay.
And I just enjoyed it ever since.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So it wasn't your decision to come to China. It was just, it just
Well,
happened.
yeah, it just happened. But no, the decision I made it, the definitive decision to
Mm-hmm.
go abroad from America and teach.
Okay.
I made that definitive decision. Okay,
Mm.
now where may not have been completely clear, but I made the decision to I wanted to leave America and I wanted to teach. All right,
Mm.
and so that part of the decision was made. The other thing, and we'll talk about this a little later, is that I
Mhm.
believe that when we make decisions, sometimes we take too long to make decisions and try to make the
Mhm.
perfect decision when in fact there is no perfect decision.
Wow. Okay. I'm guilty. I'm very guilty of that. So yes, please go on.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Wow.
well, see, I believe that when we do things for the right reason, the right motive, that
Mm-hmm.
God takes care of the rest.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
So if I have two roads to go down, and both of them are are it the motives are right, then it doesn't matter which one I take.
Mm-hmm.
God's gonna make it right.
Okay.
But if I have two roads to go down and one is good and one is bad, and I take the bad one, then that's on me. That's
Sure.
on me.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. The point you made about we take a long time, a whole long time to make decision. I think I'm very guilty of that because I just take my time, and sometimes it's really bad because before I make this decision, the opportunity is gone, or there wouldn't be no time to even think of making the same decision. So yeah, I would love to change that. And you've been in China. I'm just gonna drift away from the podcast right now. How has the change been so far? In 2019, we're in 2023. What was China like in 2019, and how can you compare with right now?
China's changed. Obviously, Janan has changed a lot.
Mhm. Sure.
When I first came here, the stadiums were just being built
Oh wow.
for the for
Oh,
the games.
Olympics.
So that was new. Aqua Donglu was brand new.
Oh
It
wow.
still had dirt under the road and mud. And then it's just more cars, more people.
Mhm.
Um, and then outside of Japan, just China as a whole, it's changed from being a country where uh, people didn't move around much. Or when I
Mm,
first came to China, if someone was born in Jinan, they pretty much stayed in Jinan out to college and everything. They didn't go anywhere.
oh
Uh,
wow.
if they went anywhere, they might have went to Weifang, you know, but not far.
Mm,
Now young people are going to schools further away from home. They
mhm,
are they are staying away from home further now than they used to.
mhm.
Uh, the travel is obviously different now the high speed trains.
Yeah.
When I first came here, there was no high speed trains, really.
There was
Now
no
it's
high speed
all over.
trains.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. I think.
I remember when I went out to Jinan East, I'm
Mhm,
Jinan West. I'm sorry, to the
mhm,
train station before they built it, and it was all
mhm.
woods. And I kept
Wow.
saying, why are they building a train station out here in the middle of the woods? And then the guy
Wow.
says, well, why we're doing it is because we believe, and they still do believe, that there's
Mhm.
going to be a significant number of people in Jinan who are going to work in Beijing
That's
and live
right.
in
That's
Jinan
right. That's right. That's right.
because it takes an hour and a half to get from Jinan West to Beijing South. If you are
Mm,
living in Beijing and drive, it takes you the same distance, same time to get to work because of
mm,
the number of people who live there. And so what happens then is that you live in Jinan, the cost of living is cheaper. So
mm.
you're making a significant salary working in Beijing, but living in Jinan.
Sure.
And the only thing that's causing that to be a problem is the time to travel to work. So I know several people now who work in Jinan work in Beijing and
Yeah.
live in Jinan. Several. So
Wow.
that has been a significant change as well.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Like thinking about the whole Jinan as it is right now being woods. Wow. I mean, okay then I'm so thankful for the time I came to China because I came directly from Beijing through the fast train. I mean, it was like an hour, 40 minutes, not even up to 2 hours. It was amazing and so the speed, the smoothness, the convenience, everything was amazing. Wow. I would definitely love to see pictures of then so I could compare with right now.
Yes, yeah.
The change is massive. Thank you. So, getting to today's podcast about decision making, do you think it's most how do I, what word should I use for this? It's easier. I mean, decision making, that's problem because I feel it's a problem. It's a huge problem. Do you think it's most common to young people or probably the old people in this
I think I
modern
think it's
world?
probably more prevalent for young people not knowing how to make good decisions.
Mm,
Some old people never learn. Okay,
yeah, right.
okay,
Got it.
but I think that what happens is that as you make decisions that are not as good as you would like them to be, you learn from them,
Mm,
and that only comes with age.
sure.
And I think that's one thing that I've now understand even more and more is
Mm,
that it's not necessarily the decision that you make that's good or bad, but it's what you learn from that
from
decision.
from it,
Okay,
yes.
what you okay because we all are gonna make some decisions that may not be in the best, but when we learn from it, then the next time we have to make a similar decision, we
Mm-hmm.
can use what we've learned in the past to make a
Mm-hmm.
better decision. But if we never learn from it, then well, then we're really wasting an opportunity.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to digest that. Wow. And yes, I really agree with what you just said about old people never learning because it is gonna be very hard to change whatever we might have told ourselves from a certain age when we get old, except we are willing and we are willing and open to change. Decision making. Wow. Okay, great. Someone like me, for example, I am not so smooth when it comes to making decisions, and I'm not really fast at that at all. I just want to do everything so gently and so I don't make mistakes. I think it has to do with making mistakes and the fear of making mistakes.
Yeah.
However, I sometimes forget that you don't really succeed sometimes if you haven't tasted the other side of something. So how would you, in your own words or in your own experience, advise me and probably other people watching this right now on how to embark on probably a journey or making a decision in time?
Okay. I think the first thing is that we all need to learn how to make a decision.
Great. That's
See,
right.
we get hung up on the decision. That's not the key.
Sure.
The key is what are you using as a basis to make the decision. If you use it, it's like anything else. If you got the right ingredients, then cooking is easy. But if you have
Mm-hmm.
the wrong ingredients, then cooking becomes horrible, much more difficult. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you got to make sure that you are doing the right things, the right steps in place that would allow you to probably make a better decision than you would if you don't use a process. So so when I talk to young people or anyone about making decisions, I don't talk about the decision they made. I
Mm.
talk about the process of which they went through to get to that decision.
Jesus, a
Okay.
station.
I have a friend of mine and he says, you never tell me what to do.
Oh,
I
wow.
said, that's not my job. My job is not to tell you what to do because if I do and it don't work out, you'll blame me.
Sure, sure, sure,
All
sure,
right.
sure.
So no, I don't want that. Okay. But I will help you look at the process that you're using. And I will
Mm-hmm.
ask you questions for you to answer as a part of that process. And then once you then decide what those answers are, then you have your decision.
Mm.
And sometimes I'm talking to him and he'll say he's talking to me, he says, I already know the answer. just because of the way that I asked the question. So he knows what the answer ought to be.
Wow.
So that's the key. The key is asking the right questions to get
Mm.
the right answer. And some people don't understand that. Is that if you ask the wrong question, you're going to get the wrong answer.
Mm.
You ask the right questions, you tend to get the right answers. But you gotta know what question to ask and ask the right questions.
Wow. Okay.
And,
We got to know what. Sorry, come again. I'm trying to digest all of this right now.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
okay. You have to understand how to ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an example. And this is not a decision thing, but it's similar. There was a man whose job was to run outside at 6 o'clock in the morning, swing a lantern, and let people in the cars know that the train was coming. That was his
Oh.
job.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
one morning he jumps up, swings the lantern, and the car hits the train, or the train hits the car. Bam!
Ouch.
Everybody in the car dies.
Okay.
So they asked the guy, were you swinging the lantern? He said, yes, I was out there swinging the lantern.
Mm-hmm.
So a year later, this guy's talking to his friend, and his friend says, I still don't understand. How can those people be so dumb to run across the
Mm-hmm.
track when the train is coming and you swinging the lantern? And then he said, oh, wait a minute. Was the lantern lit? No.
Wow.
So the question wasn't whether he was swinging the lantern. The
Mm.
question was whether the lantern was lit or not.
What's next?
Nobody
Oh my
asked him that
God.
question.
Oh my God. Wow.
That's an example of what I'm talking about making sure that you ask the right
Right
question
questions.
so you
Yeah.
get the right answer. And so you have to
Mm.
learn how to ask the right question to yourself when you're trying to make decisions. If you know how to do that, and you know how to make decisions, then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have a better job of making decisions. It comes with just thinking, learning how to think, not memorizing, but learning how to think. I think you call it now critical thinking. I
Critical
think that's what it's
thinking.
called
Yes,
now.
that's that.
I
That's it.
my grandmother called it common sense.
Okay, okay. It actually
Okay.
is. I mean, common sense is not so common. It's just called it. Wow.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you
So
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 much.
so so
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
so that's what I think is important. So there's some keys to answering the right question. Now the first question, or first series of questions, should be, how does my decision impact others?
Mm.
Not impact me. How does it impact others? Does it help others? Does it hurt others? Does it make a difference in the lives of somebody else or not?
Mm. True. True.
Okay.
That's a
If
very
the
important
answer is that it hurts others,
point. Mm-hmm.
then you need to back off of it.
From it.
Probably. Not always, but probably.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, again, that's not what we're taught. What we're
Right.
taught is to look at ourselves. Is the job going to make me, am
Mm.
I going to make more money? Yes, I'm going to make more money. So that's the job you take. Even though it's something I don't like doing,
I'm gonna make more
and I'm going
money.
to hate when I'm 40 because
Mm.
I never wanted to do this, but I did it because I was going to make more money, looking out for myself first.
Hmm. So, but do you think that's a bad decision? I don't think so, right?
Yes, it's a
It's
bad
not.
decision.
It's a bad decision. I mean, that puts food on the table. So, no, more like having a job that you're not really satisfied with, but that is what you can hold at that time. I mean, personally, I really don't think, I could be wrong, obviously, but I don't think to let go of a job that except it's hurting someone else, like you just mentioned, or it's tremendous to your health. But if it's more like bringing incomes for you while you wait for your ideal job, I don't think going for it is a bad decision. What do you think?
I, again, think
Mm-hmm.
order of the questions,
Okay.
not the question, but the order of the question. The first
Mm-hmm.
question is, how does it impact others? The second is how it
Okay.
impacts you and the money. Okay, so you can't put that first.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not saying that you shouldn't think of terms of making money. That's not
Okay.
what I said. What I said was, what is the order? I have a friend of mine whose son has a family, and he lives in another state in the United States, and he gets home like once a month. He has two children.
Mm.
He's working another. Doing to his,
Mm-hmm.
what is that doing with his relationship with his wife?
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So back to my question is, the first question should be not how much money I'm going to make working in other state. It is, who is it going to impact? How
Who's
is it going to
gonna,
impact them?
who's gonna impact them? Wow. Okay. Okay.
Right. So the first question, that's the first question. How does it impact someone else?
Okay.
Then, only then, then I come to me. And how does it impact me? And then I've got to put my priorities in order.
Mm.
What's most important to me?
Okay.
Because money should not be the number one priority in anybody's life.
True. 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 True.
Should not be. Anytime you put money as the number one priority, you're running the risk of making a horrible decision.
Wow. Hmm.
So, not saying that money isn't important, and not saying that money should not be a part of the decision making process, but it should not be number one.
Okay. Okay.
Should
Okay.
not be number one. Okay, so for any decision that you make, and I mean, I'll just use money as an example, but you should prioritize what's important to you.
Okay.
Okay, when I was helping kids to decide what college they would go to,
Mm-hmm.
I would ask them some criteria, some things. Do you like cold weather? Do you like hot weather? Do
True.
you like to
True.
swim? Do you like to ski? Okay. Now in America, if you like skiing, you don't need to be going to the University of Miami.
Yeah, because it's pretty hot.
Okay, that doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Mm.
Okay, all right. So you find a school that's closer to the skiing, up north somewhere, rather than going as far south as you can. Even though Miami is a great place to live, but it's not your lifestyle. It's not what you find comfortable. Okay,
Mm.
and you got to be in school for 4 years at least. So do you want to live in a place for 4 years that's horrible that you don't like, or would you rather go someplace that's maybe not quite as good and
Mhm.
glamorous, but you can enjoy it?
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So
Mm.
you look at what you prioritize, what's important to you.
Okay.
Everybody's priority is not the same. Everybody's
Mm.
priority is not the same. I remember this guy used to say that there's some people who eat to live and other people live to eat.
Safe to eat.
Okay?
Wow.
That's the
Yeah.
priority.
Yeah.
Both are eating. The question
Mm.
is why. One is eating to live because they know they
Mm.
got to eat to live. The
Mm-hmm.
other is they want the all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at your priorities. Looking at your priorities. So when you're making the decisions, and this it's going to be always the same. Your priorities shouldn't change.
Okay. Okay.
Your values shouldn't change. What is
Mm-hmm.
your values? How does this decision impact your values? Does it does it impact your values negatively? Are you crossing the line where you're doing something that you know that you shouldn't be doing? but there's some other reason why you're doing it,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then you need to look at that.
Mm.
What's important to you? That's how you make decisions. Now, the reason why it takes so long for people to make decisions sometimes is that they haven't gone through the process of learning how to make the decision.
How to make the decision. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So if you have these 10 questions that you say, I'm going to always ask myself when I got to make a decision. These are my 10 questions. No matter what the problem is,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be my 10. This is going to be my initial 10 steps.
Mm-hmm.
I click them all. Go here, keep going. Here, no, that's a we stop the show. Don't go any
Mm-hmm.
further. Okay. But what happens sometimes is that we'll go here and instead of stopping the show, we find a reason to keep going.
True.
Okay.
Sure.
And the reason to keep going is we already know it's not a good reason.
It's not a good one. Exactly.
We've already made that decision, but we do it anyway.
Hmm.
We do
Thank
it
you
anyway.
so much. Thank you so much. I mean, a whole lot of things are running over my head, and something just clicked. Finally, before we close for the day, for this podcast, I feel like probably while you were talking and you said we should ask ourselves some questions, and then that would help us to make faster decisions and you know keep up with it. So I something clocked, and I feel like the word was responsibility, because you started with no matter what the decision we make, it's either gonna be good or bad. So how in this case would you advise like making decision and owning to the responsibility that comes out of it? Because yeah, it works hand in hand. Having a decision, you make a decision, and probably it's something that didn't go as you planned, like down the road. So in this case, how do we bounce back when probably we feel so down, or how do we take responsibility? Yeah, the responsibility on this kind of situations.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yes, please.
If you fall down, what do?
You probably get up, but I mean,
Oh, you probably get up, yeah. And then
probably.
and then what else do? You look down and see why did you fall?
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
right. You
Mm-hmm.
stump your foot on something. Is something in the way that
Mm-hmm.
caused you to fall, and you don't do it again.
Okay,
You
okay,
might fall again, but not for that reason.
okay.
Okay? That's your answer. Understanding that
Mm-hmm.
every decision you make is not going to be good.
Okay.
And it's not going to come out the way you want it to. That's life. But you learn from it so that the next
Mm-hmm.
time you have an opportunity, you learn. Now, let me tell you something else. Interesting
Okay.
enough. You
Okay.
may not be learning for yourself. You may be learning for someone else.
Mm. That's really true. That's very true. That's very, very
Okay?
true.
Because
Mm-hmm.
you have a friend and your friends ask you about how to make a good decision. They asking you for your opinion. You've already gone through it.
Sure.
You already know the pitfalls.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you know the pitfalls? Because you can share those pitfalls with your friend.
Okay.
Now, whether your friend chooses to listen to you or not is a different question. But
Mm-hmm.
when you share it, you're sharing your experiences so that they don't have to make the same mistake.
Mm.
So sometimes we are learning so that we can help someone else.
Mm.
And we need to understand that. And I think sometimes we don't really understand that because we have a pity party, of how bad it is, but understanding
Yeah,
that it's because
exactly.
we are supposed to help someone else.
Mm. Okay. 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 That's a very good remedy. I've never thought of it that way, because we always beat ourselves when things don't go right. So
Right.
yeah.
It's back to what I said earlier. When you
Mm-hmm.
make a decision, the
Okay.
very first thing should be how does it impact someone else?
Someone else. Okay. Okay. Amazing. Amazing.
Now, just before we finish up here, quick question: how do you make money? How does somebody make money?
By working for it.
Nope. You have to make money. They make money by helping someone else.
Oh yes, definitely. By rendering services and
That's right. Someone
yes.
needs something, you provide that what they need, and you get
And
money
money.
from it.
Sure.
You can't get money on your own by
Sure.
yourself.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
It's the same thing I'm saying here.
Mm.
That's why it's important to look on the outside first and not on the inside. If you continue to look on the inside, you're going to miss opportunities left and right. If you look
Mm.
on the outside first, how is it going to benefit someone else? Or how is it going to hurt someone else? That should be your first question on your decision-making process.
Mm. How is it gonna help someone else? Okay.
Now, hurt
Wow.
or harm. Hurt or harm. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
How is it going to impact them?
You're right. You're right. All right. Thank you so much once more, Jill Summers. And wow, I mean, these are really impactful podcasts, and it's more like I'm relearning all these new words. They are new words for me because I mean, decision making is it's something we hear every day, but I've never really heard from this perspective. So I'm really thankful, and for you to share your experience as well. It's definitely going to go a long way. And I believe that whomever is going to listen to this podcast at this point definitely would pick, a lot of points that you've just made today out of this podcast. And yes, thank you so much. And of course, I would like to ask if you have like a conclusion, or an advice, a piece of advice, experience, whatever you like to close this podcast with today.
Just the conclusion is that when you don't make a decision, you made a decision.
Oh, okay. When you don't plan to fail, you fail either ways. Okay. Okay, that's right.
It's just that simple. And so make a decision, own it,
Own it.
and make it work.
And make it work. Okay.
And make it work. See, our dreams or our decisions don't just happen. There's no happenstance. We make it work. Okay, we work at it. Okay, and if the right motives, not a problem. Might be challenging, but it will work itself out. Okay, but if we have the wrong motives, then it's not going to ever work, regardless.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation. And I am blessed again to have you on my podcast channel. Thank you so much, Joe Summer. And thank you everyone for watching on YouTube. And yes, as usual, I'm going to post the video on YouTube and also the audio on the AUDIOMACK. Thank you so much, sir. And yes, that's going to be it for this interview, for this podcast. Why do I keep calling it interview? This is not an interview. This is a lesson, a sharing. A sharing. I mean, this is impactful. So I would not say it's an interview. It is a lecture. Thank you so much, sir. And yes, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to see you guys in my next video. And yeah, bye. Okay.
Bye-bye. Thank you.